Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
Hello out there in Radio Land. This is Hank Hill, Assistant Manager, Strickland Propane. Come on down to Strickland where you can get a great deal on the new Char King 320 propane grill. We have other propane grills and propane accessories for your grilling needs. So come on down. Mention this ad for an extra 5% off of your next propane tank fill-up. That's Strickland Propane, Harlan, Texas. Have a great day.
I tried to fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. That drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares, but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to
Bwah.
a King of the Hill Rewatch podcast. I'm Mike.
And I am allergy boy. I'm rusty with the terrible allergies today.
Yeah, it's that time of year, man.
Yeah, well, it's because, like, in Texas, you get, 1 week it's 1 degree outside, and then the next week it's...
One day it can be that.
Yeah, and then it's 75 the next.
Yeah.
So we've had it's been seasonably warm, so all the trees are...
Yeah. They're freaking
weeping.
out. They don't know what to do.
Don't blame the ecosystem for your horrible immune
It
system.
is the ecosystem.
It's the ecosystem.
Oh, that chocolate you eat.
Yeah.
All that chocolate. All right, so Rusty, we are on season 3, episode 10. A firefighting we will go.
Of firefighting we will go. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one.
It's a very Texas thing, too. The whole volunteer firefighter thing reminds me of every little small town in Texas that can't afford, to fund fire departments, so they all have volunteer fire departments.
There is there are a lot of sight gags in this one.
Oh, yeah, a
lot of sight gags.
A lot of sight gags.
Good writing, but a lot of sight gags. So we start off, all of the boys are in a almost like an interrogation room, right? And
yeah, with the big lamp above them and everything.
Yeah, they're being dressed down by the fire marshal. And he says, "You guys are in big trouble. This is the worst offense I've seen in my 14 years as chief fire investigator." Chief fire investigator. And then, of course, Bill stands up because in any sort of situation like this, his Army training kicks in. Dautrieve, William Fontaine de la Tour, Sergeant Barber, United States, and then Hank's just like, numbskull, shut up.
Yeah, pissed Hank off quick.
Dale says, well, gotta go. The fire marshal says, sit down. Nobody's going anywhere until I find out how this happened. Now, according to Heck Dorland, this is a second or third time we've seen Heck, right?
I think it's the second time, maybe.
Heck Dorland's statement, you were standing out behind your houses doing some light yard work, which that never happens.
No, he was first mentioned in how to fire a rifle without trying.
Okay.
So we hadn't seen him, but
I love how light yard work is really just them standing behind their house drinking beer.
That's it. That is light yard work.
Now, the one thing I didn't mention is
holding the earth down.
All 4 guys, you've got Hank on one end, then you've got Dale, and then you have Bill with big red spots all over his face.
Yeah.
And then Boomhauer's got like the cartoon patch over his ear.
Yeah.
Cartoon patch, it's got like 2 Band-Aids going over each other, making an X. So we get a flashback to Hank, Dale, and Boomhauer drinking in the alley, and Hank says Bill called. He's going to be late. New batch of recruits started at the base this morning. He's busy bagging hair. Up comes the fire truck. Truck comes rolling up. Hank says, "There's old Heck Darling taking the fire truck out for a spin. Lucky bunny." Never heard anybody call anybody a lucky bunny.
I've never heard anybody call anybody that either. And then I've never heard anybody see somebody driving by on a fire truck being like, "Well, old Heck Dorland, I wish I could ride on the fire truck with him." That's something like a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old would say, "Oh, look, I want to ride on the fire truck with Heck."
Well, as we see later, Hank kind of thinks of them as kids. No, you're good.
I've only ever seen one guy refer to as a lucky bunny, but not because he got to ride a fire truck. He rode a lot of something else.
Oh, okay. It took a turn all of a sudden.
Whoa.
All right, so...
You talking about Hugh Hefner?
Maybe.
So as the fire truck pulls up, Bill sticks his big head out and says, I'm a firefighter. And he comes running over to him and of course, trips and falls right over the beer cooler. He's got his helmet on. He's all dressed up like a fireman. And he just falls flat on his face.
Yeah, he ate shit.
Yeah, Heck comes out and he's talking to Hank and the rest of the guys. He says, professional firefighters got the red flu this morning, leaving us volunteers. They're holding out for a raise. Hank says they're striking. Well, sir, fires don't go on strike. I tell you what. Here comes Bill.
A very
again.
Hank statement.
Oh,
yeah.
Bill again saying, Heck came by the base looking for volunteers. I was the only one the base commander let go.
The only one. Yeah, I wonder why.
I think he took that the wrong way.
Yeah, I think so too.
Heck says, what about the rest of you guys? You interested? Boomhauer's the first one that says, you talking about fireman, man? Talking about Rampart 51, dang on Merchant, man. I got them show on tape, man. I'd love to help.
Is that a TV show?
Yeah.
Rampart 51?
Rampart 51. And then Dale comes up and says, fact, volunteer firemen receive sirens for their personal vehicles. Fact, and we can use them whenever we want. Fact. I don't know why he thinks saying fact after everything is just going to make it immediate fact.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hank says, Dale, sirens are only for fire emergencies. Now, Heck, assuming I pass the required courses and notify my insurance company
yeah.
in writing, will I get to drive the fire truck? Heck says, you got any speeding tickets? He goes, no, sir. And Dale, of course, I do. But they all get up to the fire truck and they're all like taking a look and rubbing on it and all that.
Yeah.
Again, just like little kids, you know, they're fascinated by a fire truck.
Extremely fascinated by a fire truck, which is, I don't know. I guess I feel that way sometimes around like fire trucks and things like that. Like when I'm taking my kids to events
like
and stuff.
Big vehicles. You know, like
they're interesting.
Caterpillars and.
I remember a big vehicle. They had a like a monster truck show here in town, and they had you could pay like $20, and they had like a monster truck that they run around the arena, and you could ride on. That was pretty cool.
It's kind of like at the circus getting on the elephant.
Yeah, something like that.
$20 to get on a poor elephants have been beaten every day.
Yeah, poor elephants. Free the elephants.
So
let them go back to the wilds of Central Texas.
We're back in the kitchen at the Hill House, and it's Bobby and Luann. They're setting the table. Peggy's over there cooking in the biggest vat of whatever the hell she's cooking.
Whatever it is, I don't know if I'd want to eat it.
And Bobby sees Luann putting stuff on the table and goes, "Ooh, spoons! Can I assume the potatoes will be mashed tonight?" Hank comes in and says, well, Bobby, your dad's a real fireman. What do you think about that? Bobby says, I'm a little surprised. You know, you always seem to make such a big deal about selling propane.
I like that. That's funny. That's very observational there. That's
Luann, of course, not having a clue, says, I got nights and weekends free. I could be a fireman, too. Peggy pops up and says she's right. Hank, deputize her.
Deputize her? What the hell?
Hank says, no, Luann can't be a fireman. What if a very large man was trapped in a burning building and she had to carry him out? Here comes Peggy's expertise. She says, then she would do a fire person's carry, formerly known as a fireman's carry. It allows a woman to lift a man's weight through scientific principle that I like to call leverage. Not leverage. Leverage. She says, now come over here. I'll show you. She picks Bobby up and puts him over her shoulders like a fireman's carry.
Yeah.
And she gives it a real enthusiastic, oh, yeah, followed very quickly by a, oh, no. And we can tell that Peggy has hurt something. Hank says, Peggy, you okay? She goes, well, of course I am. Okay, let's eat. She just sits down and starts eating right out of that giant pot. So we're now.
Whatever it is.
Oh, I don't even know what it is, but she's using the big stirring spoon.
Anonymous.
She's just eating right out of the pot.
Anonymous Stew.
Anonymous Stew. It's about the size of Bobby. We're at the Arlen Fire Department.
Have you ever heard of those like perpetual stews, where the it's like always
Just
going
make a
and they're
base,
always
they
adding
always-
to it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I wonder what that would taste like. I
don't
wonder what
want-
the world's oldest perpetual stew is. If you know what the world's oldest perpetual stew is, go ahead and let us know on social media because I'm really interested.
Well, I think Asian countries, they do a lot of that, and it's not necessarily a stew, but it would be like a pho
hot pot?
base
No, not
or
hot
something like that.
It's
or a
funny
hot
if
pot,
you type in world's oldest perpetual, the thing that pops up first is perpetual stew.
Oh.
It's also known as forever soup.
Well, no, that's only just because the FBI is listening right now.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. So we're at the Arlen Fire Department, and the guy says, or I guess it's Heck, saying, "I'll start the water flow, Gribble. You're the nozzle man, so aim at the base of the flame." And of course, Dale with a cigarette in his mouth and the whole thing, he can't hold that freaking hose straight. The rest of them are behind him trying to help hold the hose. Hank pops up with, "Come on, Dale, straighten it out. Watch where you're aiming." And I mean, it's just going everywhere.
Yeah.
Dale says, "It wasn't my fault. My mask fogged up." And it just gets away from him, turns and goes everywhere. All of them are, of course, in their helmets, their shields, and their yellow uniforms. This is all just practicing trying to put out a barrel fire.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. So he turns off the water and he puts out the stupid little fire with a fire extinguisher. And Hank says, "Damn it, Dale, the safety and welfare of Arlen is at stake. Get serious." And he pulls out Dale's cigarette, throws it on the ground, stomps on it. Heck says, "Good idea, Beef," because Beef says something with his hands. Beef does not talk.
No, he does
Beef
not.
just makes things and laughs. That's all.
Yeah,
Beef
that's all he does. Yeah.
Beef obviously was a large football player at one point.
Yeah.
He says, "Good idea, Beef. All right, it's time for you boys to meet the Jaws." And then they bring out the Jaws of life. Beef uses the Jaws to then cut like a barrel in half.
Yeah,
I mean, just right there in front of everybody.
Just like an orange peel. He says,
Yeah.
right here, "Victims trapped in the car. This baby will peel it like an orange."
Yeah, and then of course Dale's like, "Yeah, let's see what it does with a real orange." What the hell does that even mean? That's so
I don't
stupid.
know. What is that?
And he
Yeah.
just pulls an orange out.
Yeah,
for some
just
reason.
he keeps oranges in his pocket.
Yeah. Later at the Arlen Fire Department, Hank says, "Heck, I thought I'd go ahead and sharpen all the axes." This is while everybody's sitting around. Bill and Boomhauer over there playing ping pong. Heck, Dale, and Beef are all watching TV.
Dale says Hank's a lumberjack and he's okay. Artie says that's a song actually from Monty Python.
That is a Monty Python song. You got that right. I was actually going to play a little bit of that for you.
Oh, awesome. Well, there we go. I beat you to it.
I have two pieces of media for you today.
Yeah, Hank's a lumberjack and he's okay.
Here is the Monty Python
lumberjack song.
I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay. I sleep all night and I work all day.
He's a lumberjack and he's okay. He sleeps all night and he works all day.
I cut down trees, I eat my lunch, I go to the laboratory. On Wednesday I go shopping and have buttered scones for tea.
He cuts down trees, he eats his lunch, he goes to the laboratory. On Wednesday he goes shopping and has buttered scones for tea. He's a lumberjack and he's okay. He sleeps all night and he works all day.
I cut down trees, I skip and jump, I like to press wildflowers. I put on women's clothing and hang around in bars.
He cuts down trees, he skips and jumps, he likes to press wildflowers.
So you
That's
get
a
the
good one.
idea. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
that's
get
a
the
good
idea. So it just gets further and further away from what it should be, and the girl ends up crying because she finds out that her man dresses up like a woman on the weekend.
Yeah.
So, there you go. That's where that comes from. Like you say, Dale sings "Hank's a lumberjack" and he's okay. Then Beef, of course, starts laughing at that. The others say, "Relax, Hank. We're off the clock." Hey, say hello to Chet Elderson, one of Arlen's finest volunteer firemen.
Which
Hank-
is that's a guest voice, Buddy Ebsen.
Yes.
Which is from Beverly Hillbillies.
Beverly Hillbillies. Lots of old
Barnaby
Westerns.
Jones, right?
Yeah, lots of old Westerns and stuff, yeah. And so he is over there. He's obviously a very old fireman. He is kind of leaning up against a chair. He's got a beer in his hand. And Hank goes over to him and says, "Well, what an honor, sir." And Chet says, "Hank Hill, propane and propane. So, ain't you the idiot what blew up the Megalo Mart? I was supposed to take my vacation that week, idiot."
Yeah.
He says, "Actually,
Idiot.
sir, idiot you're thinking of was named Buckley." Yeah, I'm retired now. Who unplugged my sign? And so we see that Chet has an old Alamo beer
sign,
neon sign, that's hanging on the wall. So he wants to get it plugged in, and Heck says, "Chet, you know you can't plug it in. It don't work right." Dale volunteers to plug it in for him. He goes over and says, "I'll get it for you," and he just gets shocked the whole time.
Yeah.
So they end up unplugging that. Next thing we see, we're at, of course, that makes Beef laugh.
That makes Beef laugh.
Beef is very easy to make laugh. Next thing we see is Hank's laying in bed at his house, and the alarm goes off. He jumps up out of bed, runs out, puts on his fireman uniform, and runs out into the driveway. There's Bobby with a stopwatch, and he goes, "All right, Bobby, how'd I do?" Bobby says, "Okay, go." Like he had just started.
Yeah, like he just started.
Started the timer. Peggy comes driving up. She has groceries, and she goes, "That's good, boys. Keep playing fireman." Hank says, "Peggy, let me help you." She says, "Oh, no, I'm fine.
I got it. Yeah.
I've got it." He goes, "Did you hurt your leg? Because you seem to be limping." She goes,
I have not noticed a limp.
Maybe it's because I'm carrying a heavy bag. Bobby says, "Maybe it has something to do when you pulled your
groin,
groin,
picking
me up.
And then, well, honey, I don't think that could be true since ladies do not have groins.
Ladies do not have groins.
Yep,
That's right.
Tis but a scratch.
Tis but another Monty Python.
Yeah,
good job. All right, all three up front on the fire engine. Boomhauer is hanging on the back of the fire engine. They're driving it down the street. Hank says, "All right, let's talk about oxygen tanks. The cylinder gauge should be within how many PSI of the regulator gauge? Anyone? Dale, of course, not paying any
he doesn't
attention.
give a damn. He's worried about other stuff.
"I am protesting the results of last night's ping pong tournament. Boomhauer cannot play the ball off Bill's head." Bill says, "No, we all agreed my head's in play." And then they pull up at a football game, which I think first and last time I've ever seen Bobby play football.
Yeah,
but
I didn't know he even played football. This one's kind of weird.
We'll see it again actually in a couple episodes. Remember?
Okay.
When he and not Pee Wee, he's just doing it doesn't matter. Yeah, you'll see.
Well,
it again.
this one it's like him and Joseph and Clark and Dooley.
I think they're just doing it for fun. I guess.
Yeah, they're all out there playing football, and they are just covered in mud. Every single one.
Yeah,
of
it's
them.
just like kids playing ball outside.
Hank pulls up in front of him, and over the loudspeaker on the truck says, "In the first round, the Dallas Cowboys select Bobby Hill, left tackle." Bobby's like, "Hey, Dad, I told you my dad was a fireman." And they all run over to the truck. Dooley looks at him and goes,
"He's a volunteer."
"He's a volunteer." And then Joseph, "Oh, Dad, we're muddy. Could you hose us off?" Dale's like, "Sure, I'll open up the hydrant." And this is the first of what becomes a significant breakdown. Yeah.
Situation. It's what you would call abrupt chaos.
Oh, absolutely. Hank says, "Dale, the hydrants are for fire emergencies." And then Clark, of course, says, "They don't know how to open the hydrant because they're volunteers." Oh, no, he says they don't know how to open the hydrant. Then Dooley says, "Because they're volunteers."
Yeah, Dooley.
Hank looks at Dooley and says, "Son, you're about to get very, very wet." He says, "Fireman Gribble, Fireman Gribble, drill time. Give me the hydrant wrench. Mr. Boomhauer, I need you to run a 3-inch hose. Bill, hook it up." They start trying to hook things up. Dale can't get the hydrant open because he's going the wrong way on it. Hank says, "That's because you're turning it the wrong way. Give me the wrench." Then Bill is in front of the hydrant. He's like, no, wait. And then water just comes shooting out, hits Bill right in the face, knocks him into the truck. Hank is screaming, "Shut it off, shut it off. Damn it, Dale, you stripped the bolt." Then over comes Boomhauer with the jaws of life for some reason.
The jaws of life on a hydrant,
cuts off
destroys
the top
it.
of the hydrant, and you just get, "Quit it, knucklehead, jaws ain't for that." And just water goes everywhere.
Everywhere, destroys the hydrant.
And of course, Dale runs off.
Yep.
Kids got to him. He had to shut them up.
That's it.
Yeah, there you go.
So we're back at the interrogation because we're time shifting here. And the fire marshal says, so you were the ones who busted that hydrant. We got an anonymous call. It was a bunch of kids. Dale says, bunch of kids? I gave you names. Hill, Bobby, Gribble, Joseph. He's just giving up his own kid.
Own kid, yeah.
Boomhauer. It was Dale's fault. Took my dog's life. And then Boomhauer comes over and just knocks both their heads together, Bill and Dale.
It's a very Three Stooges vibe right here, right now.
Esque, yes. And Hank, of course, having enough, says the hydrant's the last of our problems, or the least of our problems. He doesn't care about that. Fire marshal pops up and says, he's right. I don't. You half-wits could be looking at jail time. We don't know what this jail time is about yet.
No, we don't know anything about what the jail time is.
And so Dale stands up, takes off his hat, and says, my name is Shackelford, Rusty Shackelford. I refuse to speak without my attorney present. And then he takes off his hat and he goes, I am Mr. Shackelford's attorney, Rusty Shackelford. My client pleads insanity.
Yeah.
Bill stands up and says, my name is Dotrieve, Bill, and I am also insane. I just love that.
Yeah, I like that too.
I am also insane. And that takes us to a commercial break that Mason will mark with a little bitty flag.
Stop telling me what to do.
We'll be right
back. So, Mike, we've got another St. Angeles candle to burn today. St. Angeles. We've got St. Germain.
St. Germain?
Yeah.
Hardly knew him.
STJGERMAIN. So this is I don't know. It's a very.
I don't know that saint.
It's a manly.
It's a new one.
It's a manly smell.
Yeah.
Here.
It is. It is a little. I smell.
I don't know. I smell the blackberry.
I smell
like
black currant?
a black currant, like a currant smell. And it's funny because black currant in England they have a black currant concentrate drink called Ribena that I used to drink a lot as a kid.
Sure.
So it's kind of got a hint of that smell in there too.
It sounds like what people in a depressed, water-laden country would drink.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good stuff actually. And then I can smell a hint of patchouli. I don't know. It's a very manly scent.
It is a little manly.
For all of you lady listeners,
I can feel the hair on my chest growing.
It's reminiscent of the cologne that you would, spray on your pillow from your significant other, or
on your boyfriend's shirt,
or the hoodie that you stole.
Mm-hmm. On your dog's collar.
The fragrance of men's body odor mixed with cologne.
Fragrance of men's body odor. Yum.
Nah, it smells great. It's a great smelling candle.
It is really good though. I mean,
it's a very manly scent. So I like it.
This thing reminds me a little bit of the miracle of the oils too, though. It's been burning for about 7 days.
Yeah, her candles burn really, really well. I like how they burn. They burn real evenly. Everything just, I don't know. You got to let it after you buy one and you clip clip your wick. You let it burn for 2 hours or whatever, and it's just great.
You got to clip your wick?
You always clip the wick on every candle you buy.
I don't clip a wick.
Well, you're messing up your candles.
How am I messing up the candles if I don't clip the wick?
Well, you have to clip the wick because if you light the wick, it just the wick burns until it settles out, right? So you cut it so it doesn't have all that extra heat and stuff and uneven it's uneven. It'll burn your candle weird and uneven.
I've never read that on the instructions, but I will start clipping my wicks.
Even on the dollar store candles, if you look on the bottom of a dollar store candle, it'll say clip X amount of the wick before burning.
Clip the wick.
So these are not dollar store candles. These are very, very good candles that you can find at
Saint-Angeles.com/candles.
And if you use the creator code KOTH20, you'll get a slight discount on those candles. And we appreciate everybody that's already bought candles from her using our code.
She's been selling some candles.
She has let me know that you guys actually bought some candles. So
you know what she's doing? You know what we're helping her do? Make the world a better smelling place.
It does, because before we burnt this candle, my guts are tore up right now.
It smelled like ass in here. Yeah.
I was just dropping, like toots, like real nasty
toots.
Dropping real nasty toots.
If you drop toots,
Mason could smell it through the glass. So That was great. So yeah, everybody, saint-angeles.com/candles. If you hurry up and order them, you might be able to get it for Christmas. Don't hold me to it because I don't know what the shipping time is. But either way, if you can't get it for Christmas, get it after Christmas. Get it, if you get your tax income check coming in, go and just splurge on that. They do not accept EBT, unfortunately, right now, but I heard that it's in the works.
I was at a gas pump yesterday and something popped up and said they now take Wix, WEX. I don't know what the hell that is.
I don't know what that is either.
But St. Angeles does not take Wix.
They don't take Wix, but they have Wix on deck.
Clip your Wix.
Clip your Wix.
That's right. All right, St. Angeles, great candles. Go buy one.
saint-angeles.com/candles, code KOTH20.
All right, we are back, and we are back in the fire marshal interrogation. We see Dale pick up the phone trying to make a phone call. The guy says, Gribble, you've already had your phone call. He says, I know, but now I'm making one in Shackelford. Hank says, you see what I have to deal with? And, I mean, he's just kind of showing his frustration.
Yeah, he's frustrated.
Hank being kind of completely out of control at this point. He does not like that.
Yeah, no, he's just like, you see what I have to deal with?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so the fire marshal says, let's just get back to the matter at hand. After you broke the fire hydrant, and then we go back to the fire station. This is kind of a flashback. Hank says, please, guys, we've been given a once-in-a-life opportunity here. Now let's not do anything more to screw this up. Now, how about running some ladder carry drills? Of course, Dale says, not interested.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Says, you pushed me aside, made me look like a fool in front of my own flesh and blood. We see old Chet falling asleep on the couch. He wakes up whenever Dale says something and says, hey, Shades, plug in my Alamo sign, will you? Hank says, better not, Bill. Remember, it doesn't work right.
And then he goes, bicky bye bo, bicky bye bo.
So this is a Three Stooges reference. Yeah. And I would now like to play you where that comes from.
There's quite a few Stooges references.
My colleagues will assist. Ready, sister? Get that junk out of here. Come on, boys. Scram.
Three Stooges are in college teaching a class.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
I'll give you the idea in a nutshell. B-A bay, B-E-B, B-I bicky bye, B-O bo. I'll give you the correct demonstration. Cutie pie, pound those horse teeth.
I just want to take a second.
Pound those horse teeth.
Cutie pie, pound those horse teeth.
Yeah. That's a band name.
That's very nice.
Yeah, that's a good
horse
band
teeth?
name. Yeah.
B-A-bay, B-E-B, B-I bicky bye, B-O-bo, bicky bye bo, B-U-boo, bicky bye bo boo. C-A-say, C-E-C, C-I sicky si, C-O so sicky si so, C-U sue sicky si so sue. Get the idea, girls? Now we'll all join together on the letter D.
Girls? I like that transatlantic.
So all they're in college. And they're teaching them what vowels and consonants are.
I miss that
in college.
That transatlantic voice that like they do in the old movies.
You got it, see?
You got it, see? All right, well, you don't know where they're from in the world.
Just one more piece.
Yeah, I love it.
D-A-day, D-E-D, D-I dicky-di, D-O-do, dicky-di, do, D-U-do, dicky-di, do. F-A-Bay. F-I, Bicky Bye, F-O-Fo, Bicky Bye, Fo, F-U-Boo, Bicky Bye, Fo, Boo.
One of my favorites
That's awesome.
From my childhood. Yeah.
The funny
That's
thing
great.
is,
I like that.
See, these references
it's like we had a similar
went
childhood.
over my head.
Yeah.
I thought it was just some random bullshit.
No,
Right.
yeah, well, that's
Right.
the thing is at the very end of it, too, they play Three Blind Mice. And Three Blind Mice was the theme song to the Three Stooges.
Yeah.
That's what they used. Yeah, they used the Three Blind Mice.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Artie for all the references for me today.
Yeah,
He's
good
giving
job,
me a
Artie.
lot of
Good job,
reference
Artie. You're going to have a
stuff.
hard time beating me on Three Stooges trivia.
The one thing that makes me sad is I think...
That's what he said. He said that... Go ahead.
Nah, I'm trying to think of what kid stuff do I actually know by heart, and the ones when I realize it, it's like they're really stupid.
Well, do you know the thing that the Animaniacs did with the
I know some of them. I didn't watch them. I didn't watch.
That was great. That was really
I memorized a lot of SpongeBob stuff.
I know every state capital because of the Animaniacs.
Yeah, Animaniacs one is one that really reminds me of this one, of the Three Stooges.
Yeah.
thing.
Well, Artie said that he too, like you, this is one of his favorite episodes, but for different reasons than you. The reason why this is one of his favorite episodes is because the same reason why Mike likes this episode, because of the heavy Three Stooges
it's a lot of Three Stooges
presence
stuff.
in this show.
Absolutely.
Like you said, a lot of sight gags, which a lot of humor back then was nothing but it was all sight gags.
This whole episode is basically just an episode of the Three Stooges.
Which is hats off to the writers too, because they did a phenomenal job. It shows you how deep comedy really is for people that are in these writing rooms, because they have Monty Python and the Monty Python references, and they have the Three Stooges stuff. It's really good writing.
It shows you how now, if we wanted to do this and just rip it off, nobody would know what the hell it was.
Nobody would know.
Yeah.
It shows you how fundamental in comedy the Three Stooges and Monty Python are to like modern comedy.
Absolutely.
Also, how you can just have how good their characters are. You could just have them doing something random.
That's true.
And still make comedy out of it.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy that they're still being referenced. Like you still see the whoop, 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 in like 2022 and like in stuff like that, in cartoons and TV shows and everything. So it's just crazy how
they are fundamental.
They've extended. Yeah,
they are fundamental. I used to watch every documentary on the Three Stooges.
I've never seen any documentaries. I might need to watch a documentary or two on it, but I've watched a lot of the actual Three Stooges because one of my late uncle. He never left that era ever. He never watched modern TV. He always watched TV Land. He always watched black and white. And that was just one of the memories I have of him, is sitting there watching all the old black and white TV shows. And that was one of his favorite ones, was that one, and Beverly Hillbillies and stuff. But the humor is just crazy.
When I was little, they would show this, and they would show Three Stooges and Little Rascals all the time.
Yeah, they're good. They're both good.
So both of those, if you want physical comedy with very little writing getting in the way, then those are your those are the ones
very,
you
very,
want.
very little writing. But whatever. That's the thing though with the Three Stooges, is it's very little writing, but it's very, like, whenever there is writing, it's very like to the point.
It's funny though, like when you look at Three Stooges, and if you study comedy at all, you can see the Three Stooges just replayed over and over and over in so many sitcoms and so many sketch shows.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
And things like that. When you think
Buster
of
Keaton and stuff too, all the physical.
Well, think of like Three's Company. You know, I don't know if you ever watched Three's Company.
Yeah,
or
I've
not,
seen that.
But Three's Company.
That was a Ritter show, right?
Every single episode was a misunderstanding of something that somebody overheard.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
every one of them was like, "I'm going to put my sausage in the hole" or whatever, and somebody would hear it from the outside and think, "Oh my God, there's something sexual.
There's an affair going on." Yeah, when they're literally putting a sausage into a hole. It's always, whatever they're saying is always to the literal sense, and then they would misconstrue it, and then you get a 20-minute show out of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So he is singing B.I. Bay, B.I. Bicky Bye, and Bill pops up and says...
I like how he sings it, too, though. It's really funny how he does it.
Bill pops up with a giant tub of jerky. I've never seen jerky sold this way, in a big popcorn tub.
No, I've never seen that either. That's different.
But he says, "Hey, I found a cupboard with
That's
all
a
kinds
gold
of
mine
jerky
nowadays.
in
A
it."
tub that big of jerky would cost you like $5,000.
Yeah, he goes, I bet we could use this lid as a Frisbee. Catch, Hank. And he just throws the damn metal lid across the room.
Chucks it at him.
He hits Boomhauer in his ear, so now we know how that happens.
What the dang old ear, man?
What the dang old ear, man? What do you think you're doing, man, old fatty belt buckle, man?
I'd throwing it right back at him.
Fatty
he
belt
calls
buckle.
him Fatty Belt Buckle. That's a reference to Fatty Arbuckle.
Yeah, Fatty Arbuckle.
The old comedian. Yeah.
There was, I want to say, hold on just a second.
So he takes that lid, he throws it back at him, misses, of course, and goes right through the window and breaks the glass open.
So there was a chain in England. This is what I had to remember because it's a distant memory. There was a chain of restaurants in England called Fatty Arbuckles, and it was like an American themed diner, and they're actually based in Manchester, where I'm from.
Right.
And my dad did some challenge there. It was like some food challenge. I can't remember because I remember sitting there with him when he did it as a young kid. But there was some kind of food challenge or something they had, and you had to eat all of it in a certain amount of time. And my dad ended up getting like the T-shirt or something for it.
Fatty Arbuckle was he was a comedian.
Silent film, right?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, this is a dude that was born in 1887.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Died in 1933. He was a silent film actor, comedian, director, and screenwriter. If I'm not mistaken, Fatty Arbuckle had some issues later on in life. He was accused of rape and manslaughter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, later on. So, fun guy. Anyway, Boomhauer throws that lid back, he throws it back, breaks the glass. In comes Heck. He says, what the heck is going on in here? Hank says, I'll take care of it. Boomhauer, put some ice on that ear. Bill, fix the window. Dale pops up and said, no more orders. Heck, I cannot work with this man. I want a transfer. You don't get a transfer as a volunteer fireman, but okay.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you,
no,
but
you're good.
I wanted to find out what the challenge was. So the whole premise of this Fatty Arbuckle's restaurant was large portions at cheap prices. It's an American themed thing. So you had to eat I think it's like a 20-something ounce. It says a 28-ounce steak, and you had to eat like 2 pints of ice cream. And you had to eat it all within whatever the certain amount of time was. And you had to eat, it was like a 28-ounce steak, a ton of salad, a ton of fries, and then you had to eat the 2 pints of ice cream at the end to get the deal. And my dad, they still have my mom still has his the paper award they gave him for it. I don't think they have the shirt anymore, but he still has like the paper award from it.
That's really fantastic. He asked for a transfer. Hank, of course, says, Dale, shut up. You're acting like an idiot. He responds like a baby, saying, B.I. Bicky Bye, B.O. Bo. Heck, finally having had enough of it, says that's enough. Now, either you guys can get along or I'll find 4 others who can. Everybody looks at him just with mouths agape, and they're just so ashamed because they realize they're acting like idiots.
Yeah, they are. They're acting like an idiot.
We next see outside the Megalomart, we see the firefighters doing a healthcare strike. They're saying until they get health care, they're going to be striking as the firefighters. Then we're inside Megalomart, and we see Peggy still kind of limping as she pushes the basket. Luann says, oh, Aunt Peggy, it looks like your groins are still hurting.
Yeah.
She says, I just need to spend a night icing it. Thank God Hank's sleeping at the fire station tonight, setting up what's about to happen.
Yeah.
Luann says, why don't you just admit to him that you hurt yourself picking up Bobby? And Peggy does say one of the things that is the most true that she's ever said.
You've never been married.
Oh, honey, you've never been married.
She can't concede. Like, she has to hide the pain because otherwise it's a I told you so moment.
That's right. That's exactly right. So we're back at the Arlen Fire Station, and Hank is like he's coming in with a big plate that's got tinfoil over it. And he looks around, and the fire station is just in shambles. There's crap everywhere. The kitchen looks like garbage.
Yeah, it looks rough.
He's like, now, who let what the heck? You can't use a fire hose like this. And he tells them because
You'll damage the elasticity,
Bill and Dale are over there playing volleyball with no shirts. Dale, of course, no pants.
Dale, no pants, He's just sitting there with a cigarette hanging in his mouth and his underwear.
Well, and he's got the fire hat on.
Yeah, the fire hat on.
He's got the helmet on. Boomhauer is over there under his tanning light, and Hank, of course, gets mad, says, you'll damage the elasticity on this fire hose, starts taking it down. Then Dale looks at him and says, what you got under the foil, Mr. Party Pooper? Some party poop? He says, no, hey, Peggy made us some Frito pie. That perks up Boomhauer. He says, hey, yo. And then we get Bill saying, hey, Dale, I was ahead when Hank ruined our game, so I win, right? And Dale says, you automatically lose, but I'll go double or nothing on the ping pong court. He says, all right. So we're now at night, and Hank is trying to get some sleep in one of the bunks upstairs right next to the slide-down pole.
Yeah.
And you hear the ping pong, and Hank says, just kind of yells out, all right, fellas, time to hit the hay, knock it off. Dale says, game's not over yet. He says, we'll pick it up tomorrow. Boomhauer. You see Hank slide down the pole because he's getting pissed off again. Boomhauer is taking the Frito pie out of the oven. He says, hey, man, heads up, man. Hot Frito pie, man. Hank finally just says, give me the ball, damn it. He takes it. He throws it on the ground. He squishes the ping pong ball. Bill pulls Hank's
his glasses off his face, breaks
on them on the
and
floor.
Says, there.
Hank says, dang it, Bill, that was my only pair of glasses. And, of course, they say, dang it, Hank, that was our only ball. And then you see the hot Frito pie get thrown across the room and hit Bill in the face. So now we know where Bill gets his big red marks on his face.
Yeah,
his
he goes,
burns.
"Hey man, dang old
Irritating
scarfing
part
on
of the
that man."
episode for me.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a waste of a
It
damn
is
good
a
Frito
waste
pie.
of a good Frito pie.
Oh, speaking of Fritos,
I don't understand the Frito pie that gets warmed up later in the oven.
Yeah, I don't either. That's
Something
disgusting.
Peggy thinks is probably smart. I don't
That's
know.
that's
Probably.
disgusting. If you're not eating it right away,
No,
it's,
you
it's
got
going to be
soggy Fritos.
soggy ass
Yep.
Fritos. It'd be like Frito soup. But Fritos just released a new flavor
Yeah.
of their twists. They have the flavor twists.
Right.
Queso flavored Fritos.
So cheese flavor.
Okay, so what does that have to do with the podcast?
Nothing. He said Fritos.
Yeah, get it?
It's a plug. Yeah, there you go. What is it? I was just plugging it. No, I haven't tried them yet. I want to try them. They're only supposed to be sold at dollar stores, and accidentally got released to
Boy.
a select amount of Kroger's.
They're just sounding better and better. You know, you tell me
Yeah.
they're queso flavored, they're twisted, and they are only sold in dollar stores.
Well, what
Boy,
happened
oh boy.
is they accidentally got released to Kroger's, and Kroger's had them on the shelves early, and then they got pulled. So there you
The
go.
fools.
Fools. So the Frito pie gets thrown back across the room, and then Boomhauer, "Hey man, dang old scarfing on that." Bill throws it back at Dale, hits him in the face shield. Dale just laughs. Bill exclaims that his face
My
hurts.
face hurts. Then it'll match your ass when I'm done kicking it.
That's Hank screaming that.
And he goes to chase Bill, and Bill dives down the dill and gets stuck.
He gets his butt stuck in the
and
hole
his
where
legs
the
and his butt, so he's kind of like
Yeah.
sandwiched in there.
his butt's just hanging out where the pole is, and Hank just says good night and goes. He gets in bed
yeah.
right next to Bill with
No
his butt
fair,
hanging
Hank.
out.
I'm stuck.
Yeah, he. Then we can hear from downstairs. Hank is trying to get to sleep now. Bill's stuck in the hole. Now we hear them trying to play ping pong with a deflated, cracked ball. He says, "Are you guys playing with that busted ball now?" And then in comes
Fire chief, right?
the fire chief, and he says, "I got bad news, men. Chet Elderson died, natural causes." Hank says, "Oh, what a shame." Everybody's like, "Bummer, man, very sad."
Rest in
And then, of
peace,
course, Bill's ass passes gas right over their head.
Yeah.
And Hank says, "Oh, for crying out loud." So yeah,
And
that
then,
is that's a very good like slapstick rundown there. What were you saying?
Oh yeah, he says, "Oh, for crying out loud."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're now at Chet's graveside service. I guess he didn't
this is
have an actual funeral. He had a
terrible.
graveside.
And he didn't have any family, I guess.
I guess not. There's some people there, but it's all people we know.
Yeah.
We see the four boys carrying the coffin because apparently he had no one else to carry his coffin
so
to
we
the
got
hole.
Dale, and Dale's not really carrying it.
Yeah. Dale says, "Come on, Hank, pick up the pace." And Hank says, "I can't see where I'm going," because he's got those broken glasses on. He says, "Damn it, Bill." Then you hear Boomhauer,
Man,
which
dang old disrespect.
man, lip man. And then you hear Dale, "I am." It's Dale. He's faking it. I'm not. And then Hank's like, "Dale, no wonder my end feels so heavy. Get your hands on the casket." He says it's bad luck. And then they all fall into the open grave.
Yep.
And not only do they all fall into the open grave,
They grab onto Chet's foot and pull him down
Chet,
with him.
and Chet's pants come off
Yeah.
as they fall into the grave. And Dale, all he can say is, "I told you it was bad luck." It is a wonderful scene, and I believe this is Mason's favorite scene of the entire
This has
show.
to be has to be some kind of Three Stooges gag somewhere, huh? They've never had that.
Oh, I'm sure. It's just a flat out slapstick gag, you know. So we are back at the fire station. Dale says, "Hank, I want to offer." He said, "Don't." He said, I just want. He said, "No, you cannot speak to me ever again." They're all sitting around. Bill is eating pizza, of course, and Dale is just pacing in the back. Bill says, "That goes for me too, Faker." He's talking to Dale, saying that he can't talk to him. Then, of course, Dale pops up with, "Why don't you eat some more pizza? It's all you ever do is eat pizza. No wonder you're bald and your wife left you." And Boomhauer's like, "Dang, oh, amen, man." And he says, "Hey, I'm burned." And then Hank finally is like, "All of you just go to bed." He says, "It's 4:00 in the afternoon." Hank says, "What did I tell you about talking to me?" Dale says, Stop the fighting. There's no way to honor the memory of Chet Elderson." And then you see, they say, "I think I shall honor Chet's memory by plugging in his beloved Alamo beer sign." And they plug it in. This is between Dale and Hank. They plug it in, unplug it, plug it in, unplug it. And then over the loudspeaker for the first time, we hear a woman's voice say, "Code 44, Goober Smooch's Restaurant, Engine 91, respond." Hank gets very excited and says, "Code 44, our first fire. Let's go. Move it out." You see all this truck action happen. They run and they get into the truck, and they're taking off, and they've got their suits on, and this is the most excited they've been about a fire. Here it comes. Siren gets turned on. They go over to Goober Smooches. As they pull up, there's Heck with a fire extinguisher putting out a fire that was just in the dumpster.
Yeah, it was just a
fire's
dumpster
out, man.
fire.
It's exactly right. Yeah, it's all this buildup.
For nothing.
Hank says, well, I guess that's good. Heck says, I was down the street having a plaque made. I thought we'd rename the station the Chet Elderson Firehouse since he didn't get a decent burial.
You got to put the emphasis, seeing as he didn't get a decent burial.
Yeah, he was kind of upset.
And then everybody's pagers start going off. Apparently, you get a pager as a volunteer fireman. And we hear that they're calling all units. He says, where is it? Hank says, oh, my God. And then we hear sirens wailing, and then we're back at the Arlen Fire Department, and it is on fire and is a total loss. The whole thing just boom, it all falls down. So Dale, being the idiot that he is, actually they come up and they get out of the fire, and Hank says, where do you want us, Chief? Talking to the fire chief, and he says, back in the grave with Chet Elderson, which is rough. That is a rough thing to say. But then Dale, being the idiot he is, he goes, I hereby dedicate to you the Chet Elderson Firehouse, and puts that damn plaque right on the ashes. Just on the ashes of the whole place.
Disrespectful.
Yeah. So we're back in the interrogation, so we've time shifted again. Hank says, sir, I've kept a journal of all the violations these three nincompoops have committed, and I'll be more than happy to turn it over and read that journal. Dale says, it's all lies. Hank did it. Bill did it too. I begged him not to. And then we get, you chicken-necked ass. I'll kill you.
Chicken-necked ass.
Chicken-necked ass.
Have you ever seen a chicken's neck, though?
Sure.
They're all bumpy and I think it's a joke against rednecks. I think that's what that is. That's because if you've ever seen a redneck that has worked their whole life outside, they have chicken necks. Their necks are red, and it looks all bumpy on their neck from working outside.
So they are just at each other's throat again, and
I'm not trying to offend rednecks or anything, or people that work outside. I'm just saying I think that's the joke, or offended chickens.
Yeah.
You chicken rednecked ass.
Redneck ass. So they're all just fighting at each other. They're at each other's throat, and Chief just sprays the fire extinguisher on and puts them out. The guys are now in the interrogation. They're drying off, and the chief is saying, well, I thought you guys had reached your peak when you pantsed Chet Elderson at his funeral, but then you outdid yourself by burning down your own firehouse. Hank says, not me, it was these screw-ups. And then we get, well, maybe this is the wrong time to bring it up, but we're only volunteers, says Bill.
We're only volunteers.
And the fire chief says, we're going to go over every minute of what happened before you lame brains left for Goober Smooches, then I'll know which one of you to bring up on charges. And all of them just gulp.
Gulp?
Which, the big gulp, that is a big deal for a lot of these, especially sight gags.
Yeah.
The big gulp. So we get... he says, Gribble, you first. And then, of course, Gribble starts giving his recount, and every one of these recounts is completely different. We see Dale in his account of what's happening.
It's funny because he's all like swole and stuff.
He's very muscle-bound. He takes off his hat at some point, and he's got long locks of hair. Yeah, it's a big deal. And he says, well, as usual, I was performing rigorous fire safety checks on the station house. He's got big muscles. He lights up a cigarette, holds it right up over the smoke alarm, and the thing goes off, and so he's done his test. Then he says, as usual, Hank was giving orders. Hank is dressed as like an army commander or something for some reason, and he's just shouting out orders. He says Bill had his face buried in a French bread pizza. Bill, for some reason, has a chef's hat on and his face flat into a big French bread pizza, just eating it like it's a pie eating contest.
Yeah, just going to town.
Which I didn't really understand, but it was fantastic to watch. Again, he takes his hat off, big long locks come out, and then he said, and Boomhauer thought being a fireman meant a chance to work on his tan. You see Boomhauer over on the side in his little leopard skin one-piece swimsuit. What do you call those things? Speedo, thank you very much. And he's got a pina colada over there, and he's got his tanning light on. He said, of course, he didn't realize his tanning lotion had been replaced with some icy hot Hank bought for Peggy's humiliating groin pull. which that was never referenced, and there's just an unknown hand that comes in and switches out the bottle.
Yeah.
He puts on the icy hot. He freaks out and gets up, and then he says, but then the fire alarm went off, and Boomhauer knocked over his tanning lamp and bolted outright, and we see a 3-time slow motion replay of that tanning lamp going over. It's kind of like JFK, you know?
Yeah.
So we see that. And, of course, Dale says, I raced for the fire truck with lightning speed. And then
that's all I remember.
In his memory, he remembers flicking that cigarette onto the carpet.
Yep.
And he goes, I raced for the truck with lightning speed. Oh, that's all I remember.
Yep.
And then we move on to Boomhauer. Boomhauer's recant is, no way, man. Old Gribble talking that crazy crap, man. I'll tell you what happened. Dang old truth, man. Bill, man, threw that flip, boom, landed right in my ear, man. So he's telling the story of that lid hitting him in the
lid, the
ear.
lid, yeah.
The alarm goes off. He goes, hey, tell you what, dang old detector, man. And this is in Boomhauer's retelling.
He's talking. He's doing everybody's voice.
Everybody speaks as Boomhauer,
except for Boomhauer.
Yeah.
Is this how Boomhauer sees the world?
I think so. I
feel so bad for him.
I think this is how he sees the world. So we are back at Boomhauer's account of what's going on, and like we say, Boomhauer, in his mind, I think you're right.
Everybody sounds like him, except for him.
This is how he sees the world, yeah. And Dale says, talking about government taking away smoke for freedom, man. And so in comes Hank. Hank says, hey, man, I tell you what, man, that dang old boy ain't right, man. Doesn't talk about kicking that dang old ass. And then Boomhauer speaks up. For God's sakes, Hank, act like an adult, man, and keep it down, guys, will you? I'm trying to get through an article on vintage Camaros, and I've been on the same dang page for 20 minutes. That's right.
I love that.
And then Bill, of course, pulling out his French bread pizza, which is the one constant across all this. Dang old pretty pizza, I'll tell you what. But again, even in this account, Bill puts his face first right down into the French bread pizza. And so the fire marshal says, so you're saying the Bill left the oven on? Bill says, not true. And then we get Bill's account of what happened. Why is Bill bald in his account? Why is his head completely bald?
Completely bald. I don't know.
I think he just
he looks like Mr.
Nothing
Clean.
Wrong with being bald.
Yeah.
I think he just sees himself as bald.
Maybe so.
Just
yeah.
practically, that's just the way he views himself.
And it's funny because, like, Bill doesn't see himself with muscles. He doesn't see himself with a full head of hair. Doesn't see himself as anything other than just being Bill.
Well, in a way, he's not. He knows what he is. He's not full of himself.
I guess so.
I guess so.
He says,
you got to respect it.
He says, not true. Okay, I have a weakness for pizza. I have a lot of weaknesses, but actually, I distinctly remember turning off the toaster oven. You see Bill get his French bread pizza out. Then he pulls out a Swiss Army knife, which has a pizza cutter on it, and he cuts the pizza.
Yeah.
And then even in Bill's retelling, he puts his face first right into the pizza and starts eating it like a pie.
Yep.
He says, and then I had myself a little dessert, and we see him roasting marshmallows over the open fire. And he goes, oh, my. Oh, okay. So I turned the toaster oven off, like I said. So now Bill is pretty well convinced that he left the fire on the stove, and that may be what caused it. Now we are back at the fire marshal. Fire marshal says, well, what happened after the fire alarm went off? And he says, I was in the garage getting bunkered out. Dale was on the tailboard switching the oxygen tanks. He says, what do you mean switching the oxygen tanks?
Which is a sketchy thing if you're a firefighter and somebody starts switching tanks on you, because you're going to think that the tank that you're getting is a defective tank or something.
Well, you see,
but it's the opposite here. Yeah, it's the complete opposite.
We see Dale back there switching the names on the oxygen tanks, and Hank says, why would you switch oxygen tanks? And Dale finally says, oh, let's face it, me, Bill, and Boomhauer had no idea what we were doing.
Which is weird because Boomhauer, we find out, is actually a cop, so it's crazy that he doesn't understand the procedures to be a firefighter.
He says, you're the only real fireman among us. I saw your tank was running low, mine was full. I knew you'd need every molecule of oxygen to carry our charred bodies out of that raging inferno. And then Hank gives it like a little smile. And so we're starting to get to that point in the episode where we're getting a lesson here, and Hank is coming back around. Fire Marshal says, so the fire could have been caused by Gribble's smoking, Boomhauer's tanning, or Dotrieve's incessant cooking.
And then Hank, of course, as pristine as he is, he's, it could have been, but it wouldn't. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah. And so here comes Hank's retelling, right?
And he tells his whole story, yeah.
And in Hank's retelling, everybody's a child.
Everybody's
They're
a
all
child,
little kids.
Except for Hank,
which is funny.
So this is funny that this how Hank sees.
Even Hank is like in that big oversized.
Yeah, you're
suit.
right. Hank is a kid at this point. At this point, yeah,
right.
You're right. Yeah. They all are. They're all in like these big firefighter costume looking things.
Yeah, I've got Dale with a party favor going with that thing. Hank in the big oversized suit. Bill is up on the counter with his legs flailing, just eating his pizza once again, eating the French bread pizza. And then Boomhauer is a kid with a tanning lamp. Hank says, we had finally realized our boyhood dreams. We had become firefighters, except instead of fighting fires, we were busy fighting each other. And then the alarm goes off, and he says, I sprang into action. And then all of them immediately grow up. They start heading towards the fire engine. Hank picks up the tanning lamp. He goes, I switched off the lamp, turned off the stove, and put out the cigarette. I ran towards the fire truck, and I saw Dale fiddling in the back. I didn't know that he was busy switching the oxygen tanks. Awfully nice thing of him to do since we weren't even on speaking terms. Dale, still aren't. Hank says, then I put my blinker on to pull out. Wait a minute. And so he remembers looking in his rearview mirror and seeing that damn Alamo sign
plugged
flashing,
in,
flashing and plugged in the back. He goes, I remember seeing some kind of yellow light in the mirror. I know what caused the fire. Somebody plugged in that stupid Alamo beer sign, and I'll tell you who that somebody had to be. And Dale, of course, is like
shaking. He's a little nervous.
He goes, that somebody had to be, and then Gribble gets a little bit louder, and he goes, Chet Elderson. And Dale, of course, immediately, I did not. Chet Elderson. Yep, that's it. He says Chet was always trying to plug in. He loved that sign, but the dang thing didn't work right. It threw off sparks, and, well, it was just a real fire hazard. Isn't that right, Dale? Yes. Dale says Chet Elderson must have plugged in that sign in the last time he was at the station. What a moron. May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
Bill says, yep, that sounds like Chet. And then Boomhauer, I tell you what, man, dragging old Chet's name through the mud, man. Old Dale's the one that did it, man. Leave old Chet alone, man. So, once again,
always he tells
Boomhauer telling the truth. Yeah, absolutely telling the truth, but nobody can understand him.
Nobody understands him.
So the fire marshal just kind of looks at him for a second and says, so each and every one of you believes that Chet Elderson started that fire. They all kind of agree with that. Except for Boomhauer. He throws his arms up and he's like, why the hell doesn't anybody understand me?
Why the hell? Yeah, it was like the thing with the whooping crane. He's like, he's right there in that dang old cooler.
Right.
Yeah. Well, since there's nothing here, let me know. Yeah.
So the fire marshal says, well, it doesn't surprise me. I told him half a dozen times not to plug in that sign. I don't know. Chet was one heck of a fireman. I hate to soil his good name. And so Hank pipes up and says, well, guess we could just call it an electrical fire. Accidents do happen. The guy says, well, it's a good idea. That's what we'll do. You're free to go. And that's it. Okay, that's it. Okay, good story. Bye.
See you later.
That's how that thing
works.
wraps up.
That suffices, yeah.
Bill says, well, I heard Miss Throckmorton's looking to hire 4 plumbers. Hank, of course, immediately, no. He goes, well, it's all the beer we can drink. He goes, okay, I could use a beer. Everybody agrees, and they all go off happily ever after.
Yeah.
We get to our credits, and then to tie up the Peggy little bit of story we have here, we see Peggy working out furiously all over the place. She's running on a track. She is lifting weights. We see men helping her stretch, and then we're back at the original place on a mat for some reason out in their yard. And Peggy's got like the big weightlifting belt on and everything. And she lifts Bobby up over her head, finally gets him up and goes, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then she just throws Bobby down and everybody walks off.
That's
except for Bobby. Yeah. He's just laying on the ground. Then
I love the way she's just like,
she's just like,
just chunks him,
it's like dead weight. And then we get our credits and we hear Dale with a little more. All right, and that is it, man. That takes us all the way down.
A big thank you to all official and volunteer firefighters.
Yes.
You guys do great work.
Yeah,
yes,
thanks, y'all.
volunteer firefighters.
And the next episode, I cannot wait for. It's one of my favorite episodes. The next episode.
Remind me again which one it is.
To Spank with Love. It's the episode where she
yeah.
bends Dooley over her knee and spanks him in the middle of class.
I'm gonna say it now. He totally deserved that.
He did deserve it.
He deserved
He
it.
did
He deserved
deserve
more,
it.
honestly.
He probably deserves a couple ass whoopings.
Dooley deserves anything that comes his way. All right. Well, that is it, guys.
That is it.
Season 3, episode 10 of Firefighting We Will Go.
Yeah.
All right.
We will go.
Rusty, you want to tell them where they can find us?
Yeah, you can find us on Linktree. So
Besides
I have a
here.
Linktree that, besides here. I have a Linktree that has all the links you'll need on it. You can go to linktr.ee/BWAAAKOTH, and that has all of our social media links.
All the links you could ever slash.
Has the links to our Spotify playlist, which me and Mike are going to re-engineer for you guys pretty soon. I'm going to erase all of it off there, and we're going to put 10 songs apiece that we both like on there, and try to do that maybe once a month.
Mason
update
also.
it.
We need to let Mason
Yeah, Mason, I
add
need
some
your email so I can add you to it. Do you use Spotify?
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool. So I just need your Spotify information, whatever email you use for it, and then I'll send you the link to add you to the collaboration deal.
Sweet.
And we're gonna add 10 songs each. You add 10, Mike add 10, and I'll add 10. And it'll
I'm
be
doing 11.
You're doing 11? Okay. We'll do 11, 12. just not like 40. We want to make it a playlist that's like manageable for people to listen to throughout the week.
I got you.
A 40-song playlist is unrealistic.
40's a lot.
Also, I want to thank everybody that's been driving traffic to the YouTube page that we started for King of the Hill. We're doing pretty good so far. We're almost at 1,000 total views.
That's great.
We're halfway to it, so appreciate you guys checking that out. You can check that out at youtube.com. That's BWAAAKOTH. As well there.
If I could I ask everybody out there to introduce the show to one person who hasn't listened?
Yeah, introduce the show to one person
that would be wonderful.
that you know that
it would really
hasn't
help
listened
us
to
out
it.
a lot.
Yeah, we appreciate that. That'd be a great call to action.
We're looking for more unique listeners. So we're just looking to grow the audience. Downloads are great, but we just want more and more people to listen to the show.
Yeah, and thanks to everybody that's subscribing too. So we have, we're getting subscribers and stuff on the YouTube channel too. So I like that. We're getting follows on social media. So thanks for everybody that is sharing it with people.
That's it.
I know new people are getting it, and we thank all of y'all for sticking with us for as long as you have. And welcome to 2023 and a whole year of King of the Hill.
Here we go.
We should finish up season 3 and start season 4 and get about halfway through it before the end of the year. So we're pushing.
That sounds great.
We're almost a quarter of the way into King of the Hill.
That's amazing. amazing.
Once we hit season 4, that's around a quarter of the way through. 13 seasons. So
real quick before we go, Mike, isn't something happening in like 12 days?
Something is happening in 12 days. It is RoadCon 23.
Oh, yeah.
January 20th through the 22nd here in Waco, Texas, downtown Waco, Texas. Lots of live shows, lots of cool stuff. Get your tickets at roadcon23.com.
And shout out to the guy that made the ad for the King of the Hill voice ad for that. Chris, appreciate you.
That's a great one. That's a great one.
Are we going to plug that in?
We will. We'll plug it in.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
You got it. All right, guys. Well, thank you again for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Wimitanya.
Wimitanya, indeed.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.